Alright, so this game, this is another nostalgic rewind. I was actually going to do this game and Doom 3 because I played through both. And my footage with Doom 3, because the NVIDIA recording overlay is dumb AF, all my videos were weirdly compressed to the top left of the screen, and the rest of the screen is black, so can't really find a fix on it right now. You know, I'm sure someone knows what the fix is, but I was replaying through Onimusha because it's been over 20 years since it came out, but Onimusha Warlords, which is just the remaster, quote unquote, of the game, came out 5 years ago, which is still a while. But this game, it's interesting because I had partially played, you know, when I was real young, like elementary school, and basically, you know, forgot about it. Kind of just went into the back of my brain until after high school, when I played the first one. I played all of them except for the fourth one, so all three. And it's so interesting because replaying it as an adult, it's like, God, this is... I wouldn't say this is like an era of Capcom, but this game, Dino Crisis, and Resident Evil, and Devil May Cry, so that's, you know, it's like, okay, they all kind of feel the same, which is not obviously bad, because you could say that about any game, like, oh, every FPS game is the same. But it's so funny playing Onimusha, and it's like, I feel like I'm playing a Resident Evil spin-off. Mind you, you don't have any guns or anything, but it shows its date, you know, but luckily for me, I'm familiar with, you know, the tank controls and games like this, so it's not really a problem for me. A new player coming in, I feel like might, you know, I mean, if they're really, like, into old games and stuff, I think they'll be fine, but, you know, I feel like some people might have a hard time with the fixed camera angles and the weird-ass controls. But this game takes place in feudal Japan, where the warlord, or, you know, whatever you'd want to call him, Oda Nobunaga, wants to basically, you know, make deals with demons and take over Japan. And you play as Samanosuke Akechi, who, you know, your standard badass samurai guard of the princess, you know, might be a little bit more there, but basically, I mean, right from the get-go, the game starts out and it's like, okay, something's going on, I've shown up, boom, there's skeleton demons, things like that. And the game, I mean, mind you, the game doesn't hold your hand either. I mean, I played on easy mode this time just to get through with the video, which I will say, on easy mode, I think I beat the game in 3 hours, I think. You know, I'd like to play it on the hardest difficulty just to see how different it is, but, you know, I remember playing Resident Evil on the hardest difficulty on the older games, and God, it kicked my ass. But yeah, so there's the demons, the princess gets kidnapped, you gotta go find her, you've got your acquaintance, your friend, she's a ninja, which you do get to play as throughout the game. The big key, I wouldn't say what, gimmick thing about the game is that and I don't want to fully say the wrong thing, basically the other, like, I guess you could say the ogre lords give Samanosuke his powers, which the whole thing is, for each demon you kill, they release souls that you can basically vacuum up with your little wrist gauntlet. Like, you sit there and press the button and it just makes a noise and vacuums up the souls. And there's some areas where you can just, like, respawn enemies over and over and over again and just keep collecting souls. But yeah, the whole point is that is you use those souls to upgrade your weapons, upgrade the special powers of your weapons, and upgrade the ability to open locked doors, because doors will have certain seals on them, and it's like, hey, you know, you have a fire weapon, you have a air weapon, you have a lightning weapon. Each weapon has, you know, that element, there's seals with that element, and the more you upgrade the element on your weapon, you can open the seals. And so, yeah, so there's that. So there's, you know, there's some level of backtracking, you know, not too bad, obviously, if the game could be beat in 3 hours. Not too bad. And then there's these puzzles, you know, you find these books and stuff like that and solve these relatively easy puzzles where you kind of match, like, the poem, the words. I will say there was one puzzle in the game that I just didn't remember, where Samanosuke is drowning, and you have like 45 seconds roughly, I think, or a minute to solve this puzzle as the ninja lady. And my god, was that, I mean, it just like pissed me off so bad. And I try not to get pissed off at games anymore, because it's like, I shouldn't be this mad. Like, it's a game, like, come on, there's no real consequences really. But Jesus Christ, you see the meter, and I'm sitting there doing the puzzle, and I'm like, is it really this hard? Like, am I being fucking dumb right now? Because I kept trying and trying, and it just wouldn't do it. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm getting real pissed off. So I just watched a video over it. You know, of course, all the comments were like, this part of the game, like this one puzzle, almost made me want to just never play it again. Like, it just hinders the game so hard. Like, it's just this fucking annoying ass puzzle that they throw in. It's like, well, now you're kind of ruining the momentum that you built beforehand. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't have puzzles, you know. It's just like, okay, like, fuck you, come on. But, yeah, so there's that. And, you know, throughout the whole game, you're fighting stronger demons. You're fighting more crazier demon bosses. Until the end, when you get to the last boss, which I must have remembered incorrectly. I must have been thinking of Onimusha 2, because I was like, oh, is that the end? Ah. You know, and they do a little, like, you know, a little spoiler, like, oh, hey, you know, is he dead? Is he alive? I don't know. But, yeah, it's like, it's such an interesting game, you know. Obviously, I like the atmosphere and the story and the setting, the feudal Japan, demons, stuff like that. It's classic. Would I love to see a remake? Obviously. All I can think of is what Capcom has done for Resident Evil remake-wise, and now Motive Studios with Dead Space, which I know the Resident Evil 2 remake was a higher, like, oh my god, difference than the Dead Space remake. But if they would remake Onimusha, oh my god, I personally feel like it'd sell really well, and I think a lot of people now are more accepting of stuff like this, you know, because it almost feels like an anime to me, and I feel like now people are very accepting of stuff like that, and so it's like, I think people would enjoy it. And unfortunately, there's no co-op or anything, you know. I'm not saying every game has to be online or co-op, but a game like this would be super fun co-op. I can't remember if the third or fourth one is co-op. I feel like I remember seeing something that one of them were, but I'm not entirely sure. It'd be fun though. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of rant about this game. It's not even really a rant, just talk about it. It's in my case, I feel like I've only known a handful of people who even know what this game is, and even less, I can count the fingers on my hand, people who've actually played it and beaten it. So I'm really curious to see, like, if there is a modern audience for these older games, for Onimusha especially, and just, I don't know, how people feel about it, and, you know, whether they've played it growing up, because it's like, you know, it's like Yakuza. I had briefly played it when I was in elementary school, and then after high school just played the shit out of all of them, and it was like, damn, okay, this is some good shit. So yeah, I guess that'll be it for this video. I am just so curious, you know, like, that's why I like doing these older games. I remember how nostalgic I feel for them, and, you know, where in my life I've played them, and so I'm just real curious where everyone else is with playing these games. So